Brothers and sisters in Islam, a few weeks ago when I gave khutbah here, I actually started a series of talks about the subject of happiness. And I started that first khutbah about happiness by addressing a study about happiness that has been made. It's a great study, in fact. It's a very good study, very informative study about happiness made in Harvard. And if you just go to YouTube and you look for Harvard study of adult development, you will see it there summarized. YouTube is about like 15 minutes. I went through that entire study and then I gave small comments on it from an Islamic point of view. For the benefit of people who did not attend that, I will just summarize that because I will continue to talk about happiness starting from this study. Happiness is a very important subject for all human beings. Human beings have been differing almost about everything. The only thing that everybody has been united in wanting is happiness. People do not have a very specific or unique definition of happiness, but they all agree that they are lacking happiness and they need to pursue happiness. In light of the importance of this subject, Harvard study of adult development launched a study which was reported 2 years ago. The study had been going on for 75 years. 75 years. The study was launched in 1938, where a group of 724 participants were gathered. They were mainly young adults, mainly teenagers. And it was decided that the best way to find out what makes people happy or not happy is not to meet old people and see who are the happy and those who are not happy and then ask them to remember their past. They decided that we cannot trust people's memory. They decided that happiness is such an important subject that we need to observe the people living their life so that decades later when we report something that makes people happy, it's reliable. So they gathered in 1938, 724 people. They gathered them to represent all aspects, all constituents of the society, the rich, the poorest of the poor, middle class, and they kept observing those people, and the person who was reporting that study was the fourth generation of researchers, And every 2 years they were meeting with those people and making medical tests for them because they wanted to see what would make us happier and healthier as we go through life. And they were interviewing their friends, their children, their wives, etc. When the study was reported like 2 years ago, 60 of those 724 people were about 60 were still alive. Most of them were in their 90s. When they studied the records of those people, and then they came up with a conclusion about who were the happier and healthier people from amongst all of that group. In fact, the study is still ongoing, and it is now being expanded to over 2,000 of the children of those people. Humanity are searching for happiness, and they're really being confused as to what way leads me to happiness. And we Muslims tell people, we have the recipe for happiness. We have it in Islam. The problem is that people do not see us living by the religion of Islam, so they don't see a good role model example from observing the Muslims. What did that study conclude? What are the lessons that come from those tens of thousands of pages of interviews and medical tests and analysis on people from the age of 19 until they reached 90. In the beginning, when they had asked those young adults about what is it that they thought would make them happy, 80% said money. 80% of them, with the young adults, when the interview was, they said money. And 50% of those people who said money said, in addition to fame, being known in the society, being famous. What is it eventually that made those people happy or not happy? Well, the lessons learned from this study aren't about wealth or fame, or working harder and harder to attain those two goals, wealth and fame. The clearest message that this study concluded from this 75-year survey was good relations, good communications with the people, good interactions with the people, make people happier and healthier as they go through life. Period. I will repeat the conclusion of that study. Good relationships keep people happier and healthier as they go through life. And in fact, the presenter of the study was saying that when we ask people to keep linked to other people, to people around them in the society, to relatives, to friends, they should not expect that it's going to be happy all the time. They should accept also the negatives, the problems that come with that communication. They should accept it, but we cannot isolate ourselves from the people. It took people 75 years of a study, 4 generations of researchers to reach this conclusion. Amazingly, this conclusion is available with us, Muslims, from 1400 years ago. It's there. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, المؤمن الذي يخالط الناس ويصبر على أذاهم أعظم أجرا من المؤمن الذي لا يخالط الناس ولا يصبر على أذاهم. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, the believer who mixes with people and patiently bears their annoyance will have a greater reward, will be better off than the believer who does not mix with the people and patiently bear their annoyance. Another conclusion of that study, when they analyzed what happened to those 724 people, those young adults, as they grew up, some of them became doctors, some of them became engineers, some of them became electricians, masons. Some of them climbed the ladder from the very bottom of the ghettos where they were living to the absolute top. And some of them made it all the way down. Some of them were lost in alcoholism. Some suffered from depression as a result of loneliness. The study reports, and I quote here, the presenter said, and the sad part of the study concluded that at any one time, 1 out of 5 Americans would report that they are lonely. I wonder sometimes, how could a practicing Muslim ever get lonely? Because loneliness is a killer and is a source of misery, Islam urges Muslims to maintain linked to good people, jama'ah, at all times. Researchers actually have arrived at the conclusion that loneliness has become the #1 cause of depression in the West. Researchers have arrived at the conclusion